revolution without me. So is Jesse gonna run for president? What do you think, Jesse? Don't tell us now. We'll get an answer right after the break. So, Brooklyn, we used to say, put your money where your mouth is. Are you gonna run?
Am I gonna run? Too difficult, because they make an independent like me jump through 50 different hoops. Because every state has different things you have to do to qualify to get on the ballot.
Ross Perot did it.
Ross Perot did it because Ross Perot had a great fortune of wealth, of his own personal wealth, and he did it with enough time. Right now, it's already March, and to get on the ballot, it's too late right
So
now.
you can't run. So what tack do you take to change the country you love and want to change?
What I'm doing right now, speaking out, and hopefully waking people up out there to stop being lemmings. We're a country full of lemmings today. We just follow, and we don't have to put up with that.
But how do you stop? You're going to have to vote for one of the candidates.
No, I'm not. I never vote Democrat or Republican. I'll pick someone else. There'll be a libertarian on the ballot. There'll be someone else on the ballot. I will not vote for a Republican or a Democrat, and I don't do it every election.
But the person you will vote for will not win. So it's kind of like repeating your own...
Do you know what I wish they'd allow here, Larry? I wish they'd allow none of the above on the ballot. Yes, because in most of your elections across America today, if you gave the Democrat, the Republican, or none of the above, I believe none of the above would prevail in most elections, and that would force these two, because that would be a no-confidence vote.
Take me through your revolution. How do you change things? What do you do?
Well, people out there have to stop participating into the Democratic and Republican machinery and start voting for independent candidates. Because I proved an independent can win. Governor Angus King of Maine proved an independent could win. And you know what's ironic, Larry? Minnesota and Maine always lead the nation in voter turnout percentage. See, if there's a third viable candidate, more people participate. How many elections? The last governor's election in Texas, do you know how many people voted? 26 or 27%. That means over 7 out of 10 Texans didn't even bother to vote. And that's something the Dems and Repubs can be proud of.
But it takes money.
Not really.
No.
When I ran for governor of Minnesota, I only raised $300,000. And I'll tell you a quick story. My father, a World War II veteran, 8th grade education, one time said to me, you know, all politicians are a bunch of crooks. And I said, Dad, how can you say that? You can't make a blanket statement like that. And I said, why do you say that? He said, well, because they spend $1 million for a job that pays $100,000 a year. Well, I could look, my dad's gone now, but I could look my dad in the eye and say, your son's not a crook, because I only raised $300,000 and I was paid $120,000 a year for 4 years, so that's $480,000 for 4 years. So I made more with my salary than what I spent to get in.
A light moment from the Letterman show, and we'll ask Jesse about age. John McCain's age was fodder for last late-night comics. McCain strikes back. Here's a preview. It happens tonight. It'll happen later tonight. Watch.
He looks like the guy who points out the spots they missed at the car wash.
You think that stuff's pretty funny, don't you? Well, you look like a guy whose laptop would be seized by the authorities.
What?
You look like a guy caught smuggling reptiles in his pants.
That's later tonight on Letterman. Humor plays a part in politics. You use humor a lot.
Yeah.
Should age play a part? John is 71.
Well, let me put it this way. I think the government is hypocritical in that thing, because if John McCain were simply a federal worker, he'd be forced to retire at 65. Now, how come a worker is forced to retire at 65, yet a politician can go to any age, or a Supreme Court justice can go to any age? Yet there's a mandatory retirement. If he did the job, my brother was a lock and dam operator for the Corps of Army Engineers. He would be forced to retire at age 65. Could not work a day more. How come they're allowed to go, yeah, age should make a difference, I think.
What do you want in a commander-in-chief?
In a commander-in-chief, I want someone I can respect. I want someone who will understand that going to war is really a simple decision. You know how simple it should be, Larry? A war is justified if you're willing to send your son. If you're not willing to send your son, then how do you send someone else's? See, our problem with this current war in Iraq is that we're being governed by the chicken hawks. You know what a chicken hawk is? That's somebody, when it was their time to serve, they were chicken. But now they come back when they're 50 years old and they're hawks. You know, and I laugh when President Bush says, he come out a few months ago and said the problem with Vietnam was we left too soon. Well, why didn't he come over and help out? Or why didn't 4 or 5 deferment Dick Cheney show up? And how is it that a guy with 4 or 5 deferments from the military can end up the Secretary of Defense? Shouldn't you have at least served? You're the main liaison between civilian and military. Shouldn't you at least have had military service? And yet here's Dick Cheney, a Secretary of Defense.
So there's no commander-in-chief on the horizon to you?
Well, there will be one, but again, I would hope that it would be, my problem with Senator McCain is he says we may have to stay in Iraq for 100 years if we have to. And I say no. I agree with Ron Paul. We marched in there, we can march out.
Would you be his vice president?
Maybe would he be mine?
But you won't run.
I can't. I can't get ballot. Give me ballot access, Larry. Let me get in the race now and I'll beat them all. I've beaten them twice already. They fear me. Oh, let me tell you, I'm the most powerful man in America. You know why?
Why?
I'm the only one who can get the Democrats in bed with the Republicans to oppose the moderate middle. Me. It happened in Minnesota.
The book is Don't Start the Revolution Without Me and Don't Take Him Lightly. You think Jesse Ventura should run for president? That's tonight's quick vote. Cast your ballot at CNN.com/Larry King. Vote now. Check out the results. We'll be right back.